Did you see me on The View Tuesday afternoon? Did you see when they said, we don't believe there's a Trump mandate? I said, oh, really? Did you see the former press secretary for the White House come on? I think Stephen A. is wrong. I don't believe what he said is correct. Donald Trump has the lowest approval ratings in the first month or so, or the 2 months of a presidency in American history. Oh, really? But didn't he win all the swing states? Didn't his popularity elevate within 89% of the counties in the United States of America? And then you got folks like Candace Owens, who's a Trump supporter, along with various others, with their microphones, their cameras, and their audience. If you think the liberals are overcoming that, you go ahead and watch Schumer and those 21 other senators talk their drivel. J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or somebody will be the next president in 2028. You'll have nobody but yourselves to blame. As if it is an edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show. I ain't got time to talk about this anymore.
Stephen A. Smith is calling out the DNC for their performative outrage, explosive and jaw-dropping. The sports broadcaster and political commentator didn't hold back, blasting Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi for stoking hysteria against Donald Trump. We've got every clip right here. Smash subscribe if you haven't already, and let's begin.
Democrats today have gone out of their way to post messages on social media about the current Trump administration and what's happening to American lives. The problem is they're all literally saying the same damn thing. Don't believe me? Check it out.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse.
Inflation
Not better.
is getting
The prices
worse.
of grocery,
Not better.
gas,
The cost of
household
groceries.
Now you see why Stephen A. Smith was in the polls as a presidential candidate? See what I'm talking about? You see that idiocy right there? You talk about something, people being...
Stephen A. opened by blasting Democratic senators for being painfully tone-deaf and pushing a recycled, robotic message that feels disconnected from everyday Americans. According to him, it's as if they are reading straight from a political textbook instead of speaking with authenticity or urgency. He highlighted how party leaders endlessly repeat the same talking points, warning about rising prices, claiming the economy is in ruins, and attacking Trump's stance on illegal immigration, yet fail to offer anything new or address voters' real concerns with clarity and honesty. Stephen argued that Democrats rely on scripted outrage and predictable narratives. The result, he says, is a message that sounds forced, stale, and out of touch. In his view, this lack of originality and emotional awareness is why so many Americans are tuning out, frustrated by leaders who speak at them instead of to them.
Why the hell would 22 Democratic senators be literally echoing the same thing and think that would resonate with the American people? All it shows is that the same fabric of our democracy is unchanging in the eyes of some of these officials, and as a result, the constituency they represent, which is why Donald Trump is in office. What, do I have to come up to Capitol Hill and give you lessons? Seriously, you don't get it? All you did, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer. Let's all get together, let's put this in a prompter, and all together, albeit in separate rooms, we'll grab a microphone and say the same damn thing. And that's what's going to resonate with the American people. And then you wonder why you're no longer in power.
According to Stephen A., the Democrats' current strategy is doing exactly what they shouldn't, playing straight into Donald Trump's hands. He argues that this same approach helped propel Trump into the White House in the first place, yet party leaders seem determined to repeat the mistake. Instead of adjusting their message or acknowledging voter frustration, they continue relying on rhetoric that feels disconnected from everyday reality. Stephen A. emphasized that Trump succeeded because he understood how to communicate with ordinary Americans. His messaging was simple, direct, and emotionally resonant. Whether people loved him or hated him, they understood what he was saying. Trump spoke like a regular person, not a polished politician reading from prepared remarks. That relatability, Stephen A. noted, allowed him to connect with voters across class lines. By failing to recognize this, Democrats risk reinforcing the very political dynamic they claim to oppose.
Chuck Schumer and the typical politicians, oh, inflation is high. Oh, look at them pointing the fingers at the migrants. Oh, look at them blaming immigration. They don't care about you. Oh, by the way, look, they don't care about you. Well, why would you bother people from the LGBTQ community? Why would you bother folks with transgender and all this? Why would you do that? That is what the Democrats say. That's what most politicians would say. Here's Trump. They're pieces of shit. They don't give a about you. It's rigged. They've hoodwinked you all the time. They think you're a freaking joke. They give you the anytime they want to. Here's Trump. Them.
Stephen A. argues that Donald Trump speaks from the heart, delivering his message with a passion that genuinely resonates with his audience. According to him, it's that raw energy, charisma, and unapologetic machismo that separate Trump from traditional politicians. He doesn't sound rehearsed or scripted, and that authenticity, Stephen A. notes, is precisely what fuels his appeal. Trump projects confidence, certainty, and conviction, qualities many voters find reassuring in uncertain times. Even when he stumbles or makes controversial decisions, he rarely hides from them. Instead, he confronts his mistakes head-on, often acknowledging them openly rather than deflecting blame. To his supporters, that willingness to own his flaws makes him feel human, not manufactured. Stephen A. believes this emotional connection, not policy papers or political jargon, is what keeps Trump's base energized and fiercely loyal.
They ain't worth shit. And do you know what his followers say? Yeah! Yeah! That's how we want you talking to those politicians who've been stealing our money all of these years. It's not what he says. It's how he says it. He does it with vitriol and venom to show a disrespect to politicians who the public have no respect for because they feel they've been hoodwinked by those same politicians. He's using it to separate himself from the cesspool that is Capitol Hill. And how does Capitol Hill respond? By showing them they're still Capitol Hill.
Stephen A. breaks down why MAGA Nation remains fiercely loyal to Donald Trump, arguing it comes down to one simple reality: Trump openly dislikes the same people they dislike. He doesn't pretend to be diplomatic or neutral, and that blunt hostility is exactly what his supporters find refreshing. According to Stephen A., Trump speaks about political elites, corporate insiders, and media figures with open disrespect because he knows his base has little sympathy for them. Many Americans, he notes, see these figures as morally compromised after years of financial scandals, insider deals, and perceived hypocrisy. Trump taps directly into that resentment, saying out loud what his supporters already feel. Instead of defending institutions they no longer trust, he attacks them relentlessly. Stephen A. argues that this shared sense of opposition creates a powerful bond between Trump and his base, not built on ideology alone, but on mutual frustration, anger, and deep distrust of the establishment.
See me on The View Tuesday afternoon? Did you see when they said, we don't believe there's a Trump mandate? I said, oh, really? Did you see the former press secretary for the White House come on? I think Stephen A. is wrong. I don't believe what he said is correct. Donald Trump has the lowest approval ratings in the first month or so, or the 2 months of a presidency in American history. Oh, really? But didn't he win all the swing states? Didn't his popularity elevate within 89% of the counties in the United States of America? Didn't his popularity elevate within the black community, the Hispanic community, and the young voters?
Here, Stephen A. fires back at those who downplay or dismiss Donald Trump's popularity, arguing they are simply denying political reality. According to him, the evidence tells a very different story. Trump remains enormously popular with a large segment of the American electorate. Crowd sizes, polling momentum, online engagement, and voter enthusiasm all point to a movement that refuses to fade. Yet Stephen A. criticizes the Democratic establishment for ignoring these signals. Instead of confronting uncomfortable truths, the DNC relies on narratives produced by allies, partisan analysts, and media outlets that already align with their worldview. In doing so, they substitute political convenience for reality. Stephen A. warns that this echo chamber mindset is dangerous because it blinds party leaders to genuine public sentiment. When leaders reject what voters can plainly see, he argues, they don't weaken Trump, they strengthen him.
Didn't he win the popular vote for the first time in 20 years as a Republican nominee? Didn't he also win the Electoral College vote? Isn't he in control of the White House? Don't the Republicans have the House and the Senate? All of that happened, but there's no Trump mandate. You see the Is it? Or is it just that the Democrats are so damn lost that they're actually going to convince themselves they can do the same old and still regain power, both in the midterms and in the 2028 election?
And here lies the crux of the matter. Democrats seem convinced they can win the next presidential election by recycling the same worn-out strategy that failed them before. They believe that relentlessly demonizing Donald Trump, minimizing his achievements, and dismissing his political pedigree will be enough to sway voters. According to Stephen A., that thinking is deeply flawed. He argues that constant attacks without introspection only reinforce Trump's image as a political outsider under siege. Instead of offering a compelling alternative vision, the party relies on fear-based messaging and character assaults voters have already heard countless times. Stephen A. points out that many Americans are less interested in outrage and more focused on results, leadership, and authenticity. By refusing to evolve, Democrats risk appearing obsessed with Trump rather than focused on the country. In his view, repeating the same playbook while expecting a different outcome is not strategy, it's denial.
I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen because Trump has the power now. And he's manipulating the proceedings. And in case you didn't notice, one of his top boys, Elon Musk, Doge, owns X. Who else was at the inauguration? Jeff Bezos. The man running TikTok. And Lord knows who else.
It's remarkable how Donald Trump managed to attract support from unexpected corners, including figures from Silicon Valley who are not traditionally politically active. These are individuals focused on innovation, technology, and business rather than party loyalty, yet many found Trump's approach appealing. Stephen A. points out that this shift signals something deeper than ideology, influence. Trump also gained backing from massively popular podcasters and digital personalities like Joe Rogan and Candace Owens, voices with enormous, highly engaged audiences outside the reach of mainstream media. Unlike cable news, these platforms speak directly to millions who distrust traditional political messaging. Their support amplified Trump's message far beyond rallies or press conferences. According to Stephen A., this coalition of tech leaders, independent thinkers, and alternative media figures represents a new political battlefield, one Democrats continue to underestimate, even as it reshapes how voters consume information and form opinion.
You got folks like Candace Owens, who's a Trump supporter, along with various others, with their microphones, their cameras, and their audience. If you think the liberals are overcoming that, you go ahead and watch Schumer and those 21 other senators talk their drivel. J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or somebody will be the next president in 2028. You'll have nobody but yourselves to blame. As if it is an edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show. I ain't got time to talk about this anymore.
Stephen A. issues a blunt warning. If Democrats fail to course correct before the next election cycle, they risk losing not just to Donald Trump, but to J.D. Vance or virtually any Republican nominee. According to him, the problem isn't the candidate on the other side, it's the Democrats' refusal to confront their own shortcomings. He argues that voter frustration is growing, and without a serious shift in messaging, priorities, and leadership, that frustration will continue to benefit Republicans. Stephen A. describes this as the harsh political reality Democrats have yet to fully accept. Instead of acknowledging why millions of Americans feel disconnected from the party, leaders retreat into familiar talking points and ideological comfort zones. In his view, elections are rarely lost because of an opponent's strength alone, they're lost because of internal blindness. Until Democrats face that truth honestly, he warns, defeat remains a very real possibility.
News doesn't get any better in terms of how much they spent to win. The Harris campaign reportedly paid Al Sharpton's nonprofit organization $500,000 prior to the vice president's sit-down with a civil rights activist and an MSNBC host. According to records from the Federal Election Commission, the Harris-Walz campaign made two separate donations of $250,000 to Sharpton's group on September 5th and October 1st. Harris sat down with Sharpton for an MSNBC interview that aired on October 20th, nearly 3 weeks after the donations from her campaign to the National Action Network took place.
In the end, Stephen A.'s message is clear and deeply unsettling for the Democratic Party. Politics, he argues, is no longer driven by scripted outrage, recycled slogans, or managed media narratives. Voters want authenticity, conviction, and leaders who speak plainly about real-world struggles. Trump's appeal, according to Stephen A., comes from his emotional connection with supporters and his willingness to challenge institutions many Americans no longer trust. Ignoring this reality, Democrats risk repeating the same costly mistakes. Demonizing opponents without offering solutions only fuels resentment and strengthens the opposition. Stephen A. believes the next election won't be decided by headlines or hashtags, but by who understands the public mood. Unless Democrats confront uncomfortable truths, they may find themselves stunned on election night, losing not because they were outmatched, but because they refused to adapt. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you.